Always.
Going live?
Always with that.
Going live? And we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
well,
live.
just making sure. All right, guys. This is the RSG Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4. Can't believe we made it this far.
42.
Did I say Season 2?
42.
42.
42. Pretty sure it's 42.
Nice.
Add it all together, it's like 19.
We do a lot of episodes.
That's right. I think we got like maybe 6 people listening to it now. Supposedly 2. 6
Yeah,
maybe
I think
liberal.
so. We're
But
like-
It's like 300% increase.
Right. 300% increase, guys.
anyway, I'm Ryan Estep. With me
Right.
is Mr. Connor
Hello.
and Mr. Watson.
Hello.
Today we have a few things to talk about. We're going to talk about EverQuest Next. Interesting stuff coming out on that. That was a pretty cool little keynote that we saw.
Yeah.
Uh,
That Sweet Live was pretty informative.
that's right. I believe we're going to also speak on feminism versus misogyny in the internet.
Right.
Yeah, we have a new article that is, or a number of articles really, that are making the rounds. You know, some of the major publications, New York Times, Time Magazine, E-News.
One of these things is not like the others.
Yeah, you're right. Fucking New York Times.
Right? Goddamn amateurs.
Oh, everybody likes to have their say in this world of internet-based opinions.
You
Yeah.
know,
Most of them
Well,
shouldn't.
We can go ahead and jump. What do you guys want to start with first? You want to start with feminism versus
Yeah,
misogyny?
let's start there.
Yeah, I
we
think
can. Then we can get done with it. We can get it out of the way
Then we
quick.
can talk about our sweet-ass movie we saw, Knights of Badassdom.
Per request on our Facebook page.
That's right. All right. Well, who
Well,
wants to
Connor,
start
this is
off?
you, bro.
Is it
You're
me?
the,
Okay,
you're the
well-
most angry about this, I think. So
the most angry. Well, there's been a new Spider-Woman comic that has been released with a alternate cover, and the alternate cover, if you haven't seen it, which we'll post a link on it later on the Facebook, but the alternate cover is just a picture of Spider-Woman who looks like she's just literally climbed over the corner of a building, the side of a building, and she's all crouched down in spider person style.
True spider,
Yes.
spider person form, yeah.
Right. And her butt is sticking out because that's what happens when you're in spider-person form.
Also, what happens when you're on all fours crawling over the top of a building, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Which,
So,
yeah, I've never crawled on top of a building before, so I don't know for sure if that's how it would look, but I imagine it would be similar.
well, the controversy here is that she's presenting herself. Her butt's sticking out. She's drawn to evocatively, and it's obviously very sexist.
Right.
And
Some of the controversy should be what's going on with her giraffe neck.
yeah,
This photo.
yeah,
Because
something's not right
in the
there.
drawing, her neck, and like her neck and arms, shoulders just look weirdly like
disproportionate,
positioned
right.
and stuff like that. I'm like, what's going on up here? This is not right.
But that is not the controversy. It's really all about her butt. And
Well, the internet's wrong a lot of times.
Yeah.
This is one of those times. The controversy should really be about what's going on with her neck.
Right. Redirect the
fucked up.
focus because real issue.
right, this is supposed to be done by a master artist, right? So,
Right. And you can't draw a neck, apparently.
It's very difficult.
Like, what's his name from the 90s comics? Can't draw feet.
But anyways, the controversy is really like sort of caught fire and spread to a lot of like we said earlier, major outlets, including like the New York Times, Times Magazine, a few others.
Yep.
Just really hit the mainstream, and a lot
Because
of
comics
it.
are big right now.
Yeah, comics are, well, it's because the movies have really caught
Yeah.
on fire, so the comics are really taking off. Which is a great thing for comics, by the way.
Speaking of which, I'm going to quick off-topic rant here for a moment. I read an interesting article the other day where someone was comparing the DC movies to the Marvel movies.
Interesting.
Because the DC movies have recently come out, the DC people have recently come out and said, we're not doing jokes in our movies. Our characters are serious business.
Should be treated
They're
as
not going to
such.
be serious business. So he compared them to, like, gods versus rock stars. Like, the DC movie characters are more serious business. They make us think about things, moral quandaries and such. Whereas in the Marvel movies, everyone's pretty much just a rock star.
Everybody's Iron Man.
And, like Iron Man and even Captain America to an extent, they joke around, they're popular, everybody wants to be those guys. And they're less serious business. It's less about, like, making us think about things and more about just having a good time.
Well, I don't think they're wrong. I mean,
no, I think he's absolutely correct about it for the most part. And he's like, you're still gonna get the occasional like serious movie from Marvel about something, and the occasional jokey movie from DC about whatever. But for the most part, this is what they want to do with their individual franchises, and that's why we still end up with both of them still doing comic movies.
Yeah.
Because they do different things with the same media format.
Well, I think that it works really well. It's really what the big difference between even the comics were. The DC comics in general were more serious, even though their names for the superheroes were ridiculous.
Like
Shazam. They were generally far more serious.
Yeah.
Even they preferred the more, I don't know how you would call it, dark humor, like with the Joker and things like that.
Right.
That was barely even really humor. It's really just,
Yep.
serial killer type stuff. But
yeah. So I thought it was an interesting aside. I'll post that article later on Facebook for people to peruse if they want to.
But if those of you who don't know, Spider-Woman is fairly obvious a Marvel IP.
Marvel IP, yeah.
And anyways, this particular article, a number of particular articles, cite that this would never happen if it was Spider-Man. This would never be drawn like this if it was Spider-Man.
Yes, a lot of them like to use that exact quote. Spider-Man would never be drawn like this. Which is patently untrue.
Yeah.
Well, not only has it happened many times within the comic book, but Spider-Man got a cover almost exactly like this 10 years ago in the exact same position.
Yep. Amazing Spider-Man number 30
mm-hmm.
is the one I want to say. Yeah, he's nearly exactly. If you cut them out, and paste them over top of each other, it's almost exactly the same position, except Spider-Man's neck is not all giraffe-y, wonky.
So, but here's the question. And this is something that I've thought about, and I haven't come to a clear conclusion, but just because Spider-Man was drawn that way, is it still sexist for Spider-Woman to be drawn that way? Because, I mean, the argument here shouldn't be, and this is a bad case that they're stating. They're not making a great case for their argument. But I'm not saying
presenting herself to?
Well, obviously nobody.
The city.
But it is still a very evocative.
It is a very evocative pose. I'm not arguing that point. But who is she presenting herself to? Because it doesn't appear to be the reader. Because wouldn't she be the other way around?
Right. Because we're staring down at her back.
Right.
Like she was climbing just.
Right. Like she just climbed over a wall.
Over a wall.
Right.
So. It's obviously not the reader, so she's not presenting herself to the reader or anybody in particular. But
does it appear that way?
I don't think the point necessarily is point of view when it comes to that.
Granted.
There's a lot of evocative works out there,
right,
that are created not because they're presenting themselves to you necessarily, but they're evocative for other reasons.
Fair enough.
In this particular case, they cite the skin-tight suit, which is...
which is basically body paint.
It's basically body paint.
It's not fabric in reality.
Yeah. But that's a staple.
That's a staple of the comic book industry, right? Every male superhero was drawn with, literally the fabric clinging to, every individual muscle ripple in their biceps or abs or whatever else.
But this also goes back to, the difference between why women are drawn this way and why men are drawn this way.
Right.
While men are drawn this way, it's more of a power fantasy, not
a sexual
fantasy.
Which is the way women are drawn. So, is it still sexist? Probably.
I mean, is this still something that... is there a point here that everyone's missing because they're too anxious to be upset about something? I don't know. I would like to say from my high horse
I think they are right to be upset about it, but I think they're upset for the wrong reasons, and that they are drumming it up to be clickbait, essentially.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Because honestly, there's so much in the Marvel universe, or even the DC universe. There's so much to work with to actually be angry about that this was ridiculous.
Right.
This is a ridiculous example and a ridiculous time to...
Yeah.
They're only doing it because it's, like you said, right now on the internet, it is feminism itself is a very hot topic, and specifically because of things like the coincident and other issues that have happened.
Yeah, Sarkeesian
especially.
Especially Sarkeesian.
Yeah, that are creating sort of this media buzz around feminism, and so they're just anxious to jump on the very next thing that happens, as opposed to like actually taking a step back, actually looking at what is truly sexist and trying to fix the issue. They're just being angry, And so I think that's my real biggest problem with this is that they're not trying to fix anything. It's really just to drive clicks. It's just
to drive clicks.
Yeah. And so it's
this is like it's like a first world problem of feminism. This particular issue, right here, where she's drawn evocatively on the cover of an alternate cover. You don't have to buy it if you don't want it.
Right.
It's a collector's item.
It's a collector's item. Yeah. So if you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. So I'm kind of. I think it feels like a first world problem of feminism to me. Like there's a lot of other serious issues we could be addressing instead of spending time, space on the internet devoted to being angry about this. But this drives clicks because right now comics are big, feminism is big. This hits two markets at the same time.
The local emergency vehicles say hello, by the way.
Yeah. Hello from the New York City cops.
What? Fire truck, wasn't it?
Whatever.
I wasn't a cop. That's a cop's house. Fire truck.
Whatever. Point is, they say hello. But okay. I think there's enough about that because honestly, you're going to get into a much deeper, debate about.
Yeah. Well, I heard an interesting point of view this week from a friend of mine that female superheroes are just kind of a joke in general.
Interesting.
That because they aren't drawn all ripply and muscly like male superheroes are for the most part.
This is true.
That it's sort of like, oh look, she's super, but not really. Isn't that cute?
I can see that.
I don't. You know what? I don't know if I believe that.
That's never been my point of view, but I could see where that point of view comes from. I've never not taken them taking female superheroes seriously, so I don't know. To me, that doesn't seem to be the case. For me personally, it's just not.
I think that's an extremely I don't know. That's going to be on a per person basis of what you particularly feel. Honestly, I don't know if that's something that you can just say with a blanket statement. And honestly, if it's who I think you're talking about, I don't know if they have the comic background that we do. They might, I don't know. But a lot of the major comic book series lately, oh jeez, these sirens, guys. I'm sorry.
Apparently something big went down.
That's definitely a fire truck.
Let this pass.
Oh, the ambulance. Holy crap! They literally are driving right outside.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Volume settings.
Yeah, this too will pass. But
this too shall pass.
What was I saying? Oh yeah. Especially with a lot of the major groups now, a lot of them are very female centric. Now they're not drawn perhaps all muscly like most of the men's superheroes. This is true, but I think that a lot of the for instance, there's a run of the X-Men recently.
Yeah.
It focused completely on all the female characters within the X-Men.
An all-female X-team, yeah.
Yeah, an all-female X-team. And it was really good. It was really, really good.
Storyline was good.
Storyline was excellent. Featured even a female bad guy. So it was excellent. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's entirely true, but
like I said, for me, it's never been true. But I could see where people would get that opinion from.
Well, I do think that
it makes sense, but for me, it's just never been the case. So.
Well, I don't think it's wrong to say though that the female superheroes haven't been major players. I shouldn't say that. The major focus as the hero for a while, for a long time. But I think that's starting to change.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely starting to change. So
I plan on picking up the new Thor when it comes out.
I would love to read the new Thor
myself. Yeah.
Check it out.
Let's move on from this. I think that's enough of that. This week.
One more thing.
Oh.
While we're talking about all female casts, Bill Murray has recently come out because there's rumors of a Ghostbusters 3 being in production.
Yeah, I saw that article. Yeah.
Yeah, and Bill Murray came out and said he would be in full support of an all-female Ghostbusters team.
I don't see why not.
He even chose the actors he'd like to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like what's her name from Bridesmaids? Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Emma Stone's in
Emma
it.
Stone was in
Oh,
this list.
yeah,
of
it's a
people,
good-
and
good choice.
2 other actresses whose names I
We'll
don't
post the
remember.
article up.
But some comments on the article are very like, no, the Ghostbusters are all dudes. I'm like, why?
Why does it have to be that way?
Why? Here's what I want to see in Ghostbusters 3. Egon Spangler as a ghost. That's what I want to see.
Oh my God, I would love that.
Because sadly, Egon has shuffled off his mortal coil and is gone. I would love to see him, like, not as a big deal, just like a little homage. Just a little Egon Spangler as a
Just
ghost,
nod.
be like,
Just a nod.
just a CGI Egon.
That'd be
That would be
only
awesome.
if they make the secretary a dude. They do that, then I'm for it.
All right, I don't see why not.
Secretary has to be a dude.
I'll be the secretary.
Why not?
Well, with the people that
Cast
that
Whitey
he's
Step.
Yeah.
chosen, I think you could easily pull it off, and it would be a great movie.
Yeah.
I think Emma Stone would be
Well,
fantastic.
There's no reason on earth why they couldn't all be women. Who
Right.
cares? You know what I mean? And Melissa McCarthy's funny.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's
Oh
funny.
yeah.
That's all there's to it. I mean, you can argue with it all day if you want, but she's funny. So, I thought that would be fascinating, and I'd love to see that movie.
Yeah.
I'd watch it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Me too.
Speaking of films.
Well, the main character is already cast as a female, and they're talking about Bill Murray's like, just do them all female. Just do them all.
Absolutely. Well, I don't. I'm not sure if I like the idea of the main character. That's not. There's main characters. There should be characters.
They sort of qualify Peter Venkman as the main character of the other Ghostbusters movies.
That's not really false.
Because it mostly follows him.
yeah.
It's not really false.
Right. So it's going to be the same way. It's an ensemble cast, but there's one person that it mostly follows. So.
All right. Well, speaking of movies, as you were saying.
Yeah. Knights of Badassdom.
It's a badass stuff.
We got requests. We had a request to watch this movie. I had heard of it a while ago. I hadn't really paid much attention to it. It kind of screwed under my radar. Unfortunately,
It was an indie flick, so it
Yeah.
didn't really hit theaters very much.
it's got Dinklage's in it. Peter Dinklage.
Yep.
I can never think of who the actor's name is, but he plays one of the brothers in You're Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got the milk and the robe on.
Yeah, I can't remember. I never remember his name either, but he's great.
He played an excellent dungeon master.
Dungeon Master, yeah, Game Master.
In case you're wondering about it, basically there's this thing called LARP, live action role play, and there's events that people go to, and they go and they just act out. Like a dungeon master puts together this gigantic scenario. Different people use boffer swords and stuff like that to fight through the scenarios, and it's all fun. Well, this particular movie.
So it's sort of like D&D in real life.
Yeah, exactly. D&D in real life. But the story goes around this one guy who's trying to become a higher level wizard in his character, and he finds
Steve Zahn.
Steve Zahn. Yeah, he finds this book that you look at, and you can tell it's not a normal book, and they kind of do a little bit of a talk about it at the beginning of the film, but he starts to cast the spell because he's got to make his friend, who got the okay from the dungeon master to join. He had to basically level up in order to use a regular sword as opposed to just a knife.
Yeah.
And so they put him in a pentagram. They start doing this chant, and the chant all has to be singing and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, they're bringing his friend back who used to play D&D with him back in the day,
Yeah.
but doesn't anymore.
It's almost like a resurrection spell for his character.
Right.
So,
And he recently broke up with his girlfriend and got dragged to this event.
Beth, yes.
Right. Drugged and dragged
Drugged and dragged.
Drugged and dragged.
Yep.
Yep. Drugged and dragged.
to this particular event.
He drugged himself. It wasn't. Let's not pretend. This is no date rape scenario, okay?
No, it definitely wasn't. Peter Dinklage just handed him the bottle,
Yeah.
and he kept taking drinks.
Well, the
And
bottle
then
and the bong.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the bong.
It's a sativa, bro.
It's a sativa.
But the cast, I love the cast for this movie.
The cast was really great.
They had obviously Peter
Danny
Dinklage.
Pudi of Community fame
Yeah, Danny
Yeah.
Pudi
is in it.
is in it. Who is hilarious, by the way.
Yes.
That guy is great. Summer Glau.
Summer
Yeah,
Glau.
Summer Glau was in it.
Nothing wrong about Summer Glau.
I don't know. Let's see. Who else do we have here? A couple other people.
So they have an excellent cast of people who don't really have names and aren't really that important. That like the kings of the individual battlefield troops, stuff like
Right.
that, and there's a lot of LARPers who are in it, like a lot of extras who just do a great job of being LARPers in general.
Oh yeah, Ryan Quanten. Sorry, from True Blood.
Yeah.
A lot of
he's
people
from
know
True Blood.
he's from True
Yeah.
Blood. Yeah, he was sort of the main character in this.
Also a rock star in his own right.
Yeah.
And make his little big videos in his workshop and stuff.
Yep.
Doom
Brian
metal.
Posehn makes an appearance.
Yeah.
It's a very campy movie, but that's a large part of its charm.
Yes, it really is.
Is its campiness.
It's just campy and fun.
And the other thing I liked about it is, as an avid nerd, they knew what they were talking about.
Yep.
They did a really good job with the LARPing terms and what a lot of people who do LARP
Out of character.
would do.
Or like,
Yeah, out of character.
Pat themselves on the head. Out of character.
So, and they did a really, really great job with that, and I really enjoyed that as well. They did the research, and they made sure to make it very familiar to the people who would watch and enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
And it's always one of these things where you kind of walk this fine line of like, okay, we're gonna make this movie. It's gonna be about LARPing, but they summon a real demon. You got to be careful because a lot of times you think, oh, they're just gonna be making fun of
LARPers.
LARPers the entire time, and people,
Right.
nerds in general.
Yeah. And it sort of is all a giant inside joke.
It is.
Of course, yeah.
It
The
is.
whole thing's a giant inside joke.
But it's a joke that is meant to include the nerds and include
Right.
the LARPers,
As opposed to like mock them.
as opposed to mock.
That's why it's an inside joke.
So, yeah, it was very, very funny, very, very campy. It was done on a very tiny budget, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But that's because I think it needs to be. I think I personally wanted to see it with a higher budget, but honestly, I think it would lose a lot of its campiness and a lot of its charm if it was on a higher budget.
It really would.
But don't want to spoil too much because this is, I think, one that I think everybody should see. There's not a whole lot to worry about storyline spoiling. It's still hilarious.
Nope.
And you will love Peter Dinklage's character.
The wheel chariot cracks
wheel
me up.
chariot.
Yeah.
Verily, that is two things.
Yeah, but
But they do summon a demon.
They do some of the
They
demon
resurrection
and
spells,
hijinks
summon a
ensue.
demon.
At
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Murdering hijinks ensue.
yeah, a lot of death. It also kind of makes fun of horror flicks a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In the same.
But I think they did a really good job with the demon overall. Like, it comes in looking like dude's ex-girlfriend, and it only speaks words that other people have spoken to it.
Learn, yeah.
Yeah. Which is a really neat touch.
Right.
The demon at the end, however, was awesome.
Straight out of Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Well, you say Power Rangers, but I personally thought of Krull,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
the demon in Krull. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
It was very similar to the demon in Crawl, that's true.
Yeah. So, but definitely check it out. It's a really fun movie. It's definitely worth the watch.
Not sure if it's on Netflix. You may have to purchase it or rent it or something.
Yeah.
I think we saw it. I can't remember where we saw it, but check it out. You'll find it. If you Google search, you'll find it.
But let's see. What's
I
next?
can't remember where we saw it.
Well,
We stole that shit, bro.
I
We stole
can,
that
but I
shit.
don't want to oust the website.
No, it's cool, bro. We stole that shit.
That's right.
I did. I totally bought it.
It used to be on Netflix. I watched it originally on Netflix like a year ago.
Okay.
I told you guys to watch it then, but no one wants to listen to me. Everyone wants to listen to Kayleen.
Oh, you shut up.
Bullshit.
Will you shut up
That
already?
just tells you how
Fucking
we view your
misandry,
opinion
bro.
on things.
Misandry.
I know, centric world over here.
But
That's sarcasm, in case you can't tell. Just fire. Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Maybe it wasn't.
I don't know if you think
I don't know.
I don't know if you think you're.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't know if your thoughts are that well thought through in the first place. So.
That's true. I do know a lot of just talking without thinking about stuff,
Yeah,
so that they might, that might not be sarcasm. I don't know.
But I guess next would be EQ Next.
Yeah, EverQuest Next.
EQ Next is looking pretty fantastic.
It really is.
I'm
personally really excited about the class system that they've designed.
40 classes at launch.
Ridiculous.
40 classes at launch.
40 classes at launch.
I'm
Now,
glad that people at Destiny could manage to get 3 into their game.
We'll talk about this.
I'm glad that they can manage to get 3 into their
Well,
game and
let's-
not make them noticeably different.
let's be. I don't know. They're good. You know what? I'm not even going to go into it because honestly, we'll have to play.
We'll go into it next
We'll
week.
go into it next
Next
week.
week we're going to do a lot of Destiny
We're
stuff.
gonna need some
Right now,
hands on this
I'm
weekend
just
with
going to get some
Destiny.
slams in podcast real quick right now.
Right.
That's what I do.
You'll have to play and make your own judgment, but we all have to
I
play at least
played some Destiny.
beyond level 5 or 6.
Well, I didn't play 5 through 6.
Okay, well,
I played 9 and 10. Does that count?
close enough, I guess.
Okay, good enough. Then yes.
Not enough. Anyways,
I played some PvP. The PvP Destiny is pretty good. carry on though. We're talking about
40 classes at launch for EverQuest Next, and the thing that's interesting about the class system is that you only get a few when you create your character.
Right.
But the game's all about multi-classing.
Yeah, the game's all about. There's not going to be any leveling up per se.
Right.
Which is spelled P-E-R-S-E. If I see one person tell me per se with P-E-R-S-A-Y, I'm going to seriously freak out and punch
Nerd rage.
I corrected someone the other day. I don't know who it was, but someone finally triggered. There's too many times. I was like, God damn it! It's P-E-R-S-E. It's Latin, per se. God damn it! If you're going to use it, be correct.
Strangely enough, that's what I've always spelled right.
Yeah. So P-E-R-S-E, people. P-E-R-S-E.
Shut up,
Latin.
Talk about EQ next.
So it's going to be all multi-classing, and you're going to get ability points to put into different abilities in your individual classes.
Now, let me stop you real quick. You have never been a fan of a levelless MMO. What is changing your mind now?
Absolutely true. Nope. That's not true.
Oh.
The original Star Wars Galaxies was also levelless in a very similar fashion, in which you gained experience in your individual character arc of choice, and you could, but unlike EverQuest Next, where you can switch back and forth, seemingly, I'm sure there's going to be a cost of some sort involved. I don't know for sure right now. But in Galaxies, you didn't level up per se as individual levels. More like, I'm level 12 now. But I suppose you sort of leveled up in your individual.
Skills.
Right, you leveled up your skills instead. So if you wanted to be a badass bounty hunter, whatever, you became a bounty hunter, and that's what you did. You leveled up your pistol skills and your flamethrower skills, stuff like that. If you wanted to be a medic, you leveled up your medic skills. If you wanted to be a Jedi, which you couldn't even do in the original one,
It was
for a long time.
hard,
you level up your Jedi skills, and you level up. Now, once Sony got a hold of it, they changed it all around, and it became a level-based game. I did not like it nearly as much. However, the space combat was really great. But EverQuest Next, you'll be able to multi-class, you'll gain ability points in those classes, and you'll be able to switch them out and then pick them back up again later.
Oh, that's nice.
So let's say I have a level 40 class of some sort. Like, let's say I pick Cleric first, and I level them up to max level, because I love being fucking Cleric. And, but Ryan joins, 2 months later than everyone else, which is how we always play MMOs.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to level up with Ryan. I can just switch to something that I have that's much lower skilled, and we can be on equal playing field.
Right.
At that point.
And again, when we're talking about skill or levels, we're not talking about actual number levels. We're talking about specific.
Right. We're talking about the number of ability points that we have spent in those abilities and stuff like that. And they also designed an interesting mix and match system for your multi-classing. Because every class has an origin, what they call it, damage origin, and a damage type.
Well, for example, Cleric's origin is divinity.
It's divine, right.
Yeah, it's divine. So that's their origin, but then they have...
So they have 6 origins, right? Martial, divine, elemental, nature, and 2 other ones that I can't remember right now off the top of my head.
Arcane?
Arcane was one of them, and a 6th one.
Was it like something dark or something? Or?
No, because Divinity has light and dark.
Oh, that's true. That's right.
In their Divinity.
But anyways, the way it works is that the different abilities have a lot of synergy in the sense that, let's say you have...
you mix and match your class based on either damage origin type or either damage origin or damage type. So if you have, let's say, Druid, who has nature, electricity, and nature martial, I think. Or nature physical. That's a Tempest, right. Sorry, that's a Tempest. Nature physical and nature electricity for damage type, or lightning for damage type. So you can pick up other lightning abilities from other classes that also have lightning as their damage type.
Nice.
Right.
So you can pick up some elementalists straight up casting, straight up spells from the elementalist tree for lightning spells.
Oh, that's
And they will work based on your lightning, any other lightning bonuses that you get on your gear or whatever else.
Right. There's actually, we posted links to these videos on our Facebook.
To the keynote
and the classes in particular. They're long videos, but this is where we're getting a lot of our information from. So definitely check those out. If you want to go into more detail about what we're talking about.
First hand is always better.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about for sure.
Yeah. But I do have some. I'm not going to say problems because for me to have a problem, they would need to actually be there.
Right, we'd have to be there.
But I do have some worries.
Right.
About the systems. First of all, they're giving us a lot of cool information, like oh, this is the way it's going to work, but they're not giving us a lot of details as to how things like skill points are acquired. Not a lot of details on how combat's going to work.
And deliberately not giving you those details.
Yeah, there's a lot of details that we're not getting. Now, it's not that I'm worried about these details coming to fruition, because I'm sure they will. My worry is that because it's been a year since we heard anything like substantial on EQ Next.
That's not entirely true, but
there's been
they save a lot of their stuff for their SOE Live.
Yeah, there's been some things, but nothing really to chew on.
We should go to SOE Live sometime, because they always do it in Vegas.
They always
Nice.
they always do it in Vegas. But there's been nothing. There's nothing been real there to chew on until like last month during SOE Live.
Right, during SOE Live.
So, but even the stuff they gave us was still pretty. It was interesting, but it wasn't really in depth. And so I see this game just.
If you watch some of the other videos, you can see where they are frequently looking off stage to be like, is it okay if we tell them this? No? Okay, we won't tell them this then.
Right.
So they have a lot of this stuff, I think, ironed out already, and there isn't alpha playable. I mean, you can't get into it unless you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, but there is an alpha, and it is playable. So it is up there. So I think all this stuff exists. They just aren't. They don't want to release it all now and then change it and have everyone be like, well, it would have been better if you did this or whatever. So
I think a lot of
overall,
systems.
in support of it.
I think a lot of the systems are still in flux. I'm not going to say they have it ironed out. They're very much in flux.
Right. Well, I think they have an idea of what they want to do, and they're trying to get it to work the best they can.
Right. It's been a long time since we heard the game initially, since they released some video of it, initially when they first announced the whole thing. And
yeah, well, they've been doing a lot of work. Like, they've been going through individually, and one thing I really like about what they do is they do a lot of communication with the fan base.
Oh, it's not just communication.
Right. People in EverQuest Next Landmark are designing buildings and stuff that you will see in EverQuest Next.
Not just buildings, but entire
architecture for races and stuff like that. They are literally voting on, and they're thinking okay, what kind of color palettes do you want to see on Dark Elves? Should it be more purplish? Should it be more bluish? Should it be more darkish? More black? More. What kind of color palettes do you want to see for Dark Elves? For Dark Elf City, Dark Elf General, stuff like that. And they'll put up different polls. They have a poll every week, at least one a week, for fans to come along and vote on and to have a discussion about.
It's really cool that they're putting the fans in direct. To create the game, they're going to the fans.
Yeah,
they want.
Yeah, they have straight up said that this game is being built. A lot of its lands are being built. A lot of its architecture is being built by the fans in front of us, because the fans are actively participating in. And I don't want you to think. Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, it is free labor, but at the same time, it's not like they're not telling you that it's happening.
Right.
Not taking advantage.
Right. It's been very obvious that this was their plan from the get-go with Landmark.
And they credit people.
They absolutely credit people.
Yes.
This person made this. We use it. His design is this, and their name's there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for a fan, somebody who wants to be involved in the process, that's huge.
Awesome. Yeah.
They're not being taken advantage of. They're loving it.
I think the things that I have problems with, or that I'm worried about mostly, is that it's Landmark itself. That game is an obvious fueling source, both monetarily as well as IP and design wise for Next specifically. And because that's the way it is, I worry about the kind of budget they're working with, the kind of time frames they're working with. And whether or not this game is just gonna get lost in development hell.
It might. It really might. I can't say that one.
Eternal beta.
Yeah.
Eternal beta.
Eternal beta. Much like Firefall. Much like a mini. Another one is. What was the one we were just talking about? You said Firefall.
Firefall.
Yeah, Firefall was definitely one. There was another one I can't remember the name of now. But yeah, it just Eternal beta, and it just never. And so many things change so drastically by the time the game actually gets released that, it just stays in this development hell because nothing's working.
Yeah. I think the difference between EverQuest Next and Firefall will ultimately be that, because Firefall was sort of Destiny before Destiny was Destiny.
True.
It's like a shooting-based MMO where you fight aliens, which is sort of the basic theory behind Destiny. And I don't know how. I have the same qualms about Firefall I also have about Destiny too. How well is it really going to work long term?
See, it really just depends on the support, but it has to be, especially with shooters, it has to be pretty constant. Like, the support has to be very constant, which it's supposed to be the way it is. That's the way it's supposed to be with Destiny, but we'll see.
Right.
It's just a wait and see type thing. The question with Destiny and with other games like Destiny, like Firefall, is whether or not the initial purchase is worth it.
Right.
Is enjoyable enough in its own right. I think Destiny has a much better chance of seeing continued support.
Probably.
It's by AAA company, well known to everybody, Bungie, and honestly, they have a lot of money set aside for it already. So I think you're going to see a lot of support for it, at least in the next few years. If it's fun enough and it catches on, then I think you're going to see constant support for it, like any other.
Yeah, but I don't think people at Sony are any different. People at Sony aren't going to run out of money.
No, it's not about running out of money. It's about how much money the game brings in.
Right.
How much it's making.
So we'll have to see. My guess is they're going to go subscription-based again, but maybe not. Because most MMOs online these days are going free to play.
That's true, yeah. With, what was it, DRM or whatever? Is that what it's called? Downloadable? What is that?
It's not DRM.
DRM is what they use to keep people
from
stealing your stuff.
Right.
DLC.
Yeah, DLC.
Well, DLC is like pretty much the way all console games are going as well. Though I feel like console games in general are very dishonest with their DLC. A lot of them. And it's just unfortunate how that works out, but it is exactly how it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these games have... Like, here's a good example. WoW, when WoW is released and they start creating an expansion, the expansion idea is there, but it's nowhere near finished. Right? They're working on the expansion, and which is, the PC version of DLC. Yeah. They're working on this expansion, and it's a large content patch. I mean, it's huge. A whole new continent, usually, classes, races, what have you.
Upgrades.
Right. All kinds of stuff that happens. Meanwhile...
Well, it's practically a brand new game every time WoW releases a patch.
Right.
Or releases an expansion. It's basically a whole new game.
Yeah, almost every single time. Meanwhile, games... One of my favorite titles throughout the years, Street Fighter, will create a game, and then they will release downloadable content that's downloadable on day one, which means stuff's done at release.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ready.
It's ready at release, and they just want you to pay extra for it. On top of that, some of the new characters they've created for their DLC were on the disc. They were done when the game was released and on the disc. Even ones that they released months later, they were on the disc. Meaning that content was there, it's just that they didn't release it.
Right. This way you pay extra money for it.
Right.
Which is messed up.
Yeah, it's a real...
They're extra subscriptions.
Yeah, it's a real issue.
They can't drive money through subscriptions, so they have to try and get more money out of their games some other way.
Yeah.
But it's a real issue, I think, with console games nowadays. It's not so much an issue with PC because, well, for a lot of different reasons, because the way the PC games work and what's popular on PC really doesn't facilitate that sort of structure. But more than that, a lot of the popularity on PC nowadays are indie games, where, I mean, these guys are working on a shoestring budget with like 3 people in an office. So, yeah. I mean...
Speaking of indie games, one of the indie games we covered last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that, Child of Light.
Child of Light.
Right. I got a chance to play some Child of Light.
Oh.
Very good.
Okay. I thought about picking it up.
Really enjoy Child of Light. Really enjoying it.
Interesting. How's the I guess the platforming aspects of it, as opposed to the combat aspects of it? Is it a very...
There's not a lot of platforming involved. Like, it's a 2D scroller. But there's not really a lot of, like, there's some jumping, but relatively early on you get the ability to fly. So basically fly everywhere you want to go. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of, like, Mario-style jumping puzzles and stuff like that. It has a lot of, like, Link-style puzzles where you have to, like, do the right things with switches and pull boxes onto switches and stuff like that to figure out how to get to certain things. But it's really good. The combat's good. It's got a fun theme to it. I enjoy it.
You know what's funny is that I feel like a lot of these indie games, like a lot of old classics, need the indie game treatment. Call going back to the roots and just making the game really fun within the 2D space. Yeah. A lot of times. I think a good example of this would be Castlevania. Mm-hmm. Castlevania, the early games were fantastic. There hasn't been, in my opinion, a single 3D Castlevania that was remotely enjoyable.
No, that's pretty accurate.
And even the ones that some people might find enjoyable were not nearly as good as Symphony of the Night.
Symphony of the Night is
Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
It is the benchmark for Castlevania.
Like, if you take Symphony of the Night, give it the indie treatment, just give it beautiful animated graphics like they do with a lot of indie games nowadays, such amazing 2D graphics.
Yeah.
Make it HD.
Yeah.
It would be amazing. It would be so fun.
Yeah. Well, the combat in Child of Light is very nuanced.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of there's a bar at the bottom of the screen that shows where everyone goes for their turn. Okay, so the bad guys on the bottom, your team's on the top, and you travel on the bar. When you get to the part of it's red, you get to the green part, you choose what your action's going to be. So while you're choosing your action, the game is essentially paused.
Okay.
But if you're in the middle of casting your action, every action has a cast time. It doesn't tell you how long. It says short, long, very long, medium, whatever. So if me and a bad guy both arrive at the bar at the same time, and I choose a long ability, and he chooses a medium ability, he interrupts my ability.
Okay.
Because he hits me. So if I get hit in the middle of casting, I'm just casting a regular auto attack, my slash attack or whatever, I get interrupted. I get pushed back down the bar to 25% of the bar. And I have to start back up again. So there's a lot of nuance in there where you have to watch their bar, you have to watch your bar, and you have to say, okay, if I get here and I start a short ability, I will cast before he does his ability, and he'll punch me back. But if I do a medium ability, he'll do his long ability, and then my medium ability will interrupt him, and he'll get pushed back down, and I'll get a chance to get a second attack in for free.
Interesting.
And you also have a little firefly guy that follows you around. And while you are in combat, you can do things with your firefly guy. You can hover your firefly guy over you and hold an X, and he will use his firefly power and heal you.
Nice.
You can hold him over enemy, and he will scare them, which slows down their cast bar.
Fantastic.
Okay. At the same time, there are also, in every fight pretty much, there are two little magic bushes that when you break them open, you can use your firefly guy to break them open to have healing and magic power restore.
Nice.
So you don't have to ever feel like you're I can't finish this fight because I don't have enough stuff or whatever.
Right.
And so it's actually there's a lot of different levels to it for what's basically a very simple game. There's a lot of different nuances to the combat that make it very interesting. You can choose to heal your guy because you have limited firefly power. He doesn't die or whatever, but he runs out of juice. So you only have a limited amount of stuff you can use. So in a long fight, do you want to focus on the healing, or focus on slowing them down, or whatever? Or sometimes you want to do a little bit of both. So it's very interesting that way.
Well, and this is one of these things about a lot of these indie games that are coming out that they do so well is that these guys remember the games to be don't need to be complex to be deep.
Right. Well, they build games for games, not for flashy graphics necessarily.
Right.
A lot of AAA titles are all about flashy graphics, and look how awesome
many
GTA
millions of
5
dollars
looks,
we spent to make this dude run like a real person or something.
But the games are generally lacking in any sort of
story,
real depth.
Right. Right, where the mechanics are really highlighted in these indie games.
Right.
And that's because, when you don't have great graphics and you can't afford amazing, ridiculous graphics, your time is spent on engaging mechanics.
Right.
So
I have high hopes for EverQuest Next to have actually pretty good mechanics, as far as that goes. I don't know if they will or not, but
we'll see.
I have hopes that's what they're doing.
We'll see. We'll see.
Some of the other things they're planning on doing with their learning AI and all that kind of stuff are going to be really interesting. I hope.
I hope so too. Hey, just a note. I was very excited about the emergent AI when I heard about it. You were the naysayer at that time.
I'm still kind of a naysayer because I don't know if they could do it. But I hope that it could be good.
The last game that talked about this sort of AI and the questing system that's supposed to be very dynamic was Guild Wars 2.
Yeah.
And for as much as I liked Guild Wars 2, they failed terribly, in my opinion, when it came to this dynamic questing system that they promised.
Yeah, it wasn't very dynamic, I don't think. I enjoyed Guild Wars 2, I did, but I don't know. I felt like the group mechanics in Guild Wars 2 were lacking. Maybe I was just shitty at the game, which is a possibility. But
I don't know. That's pretty sweet. I didn't much dig it.
Bro, we all saw you play Guild Wars 2. Everyone here saw that happen. It was a mistake all along. From day one, it was like, oh god, Ryan is going to drag us down.
Whatever, man.
We're going to be spending all of our time picking Ryan up off the ground. Get up. You're not dead yet, get up.
Well, I think
You stand in fire, right? That's what you're supposed to do?
Yes, it makes you stronger.
Right, and the little red things on the ground that tell you something's coming?
We purposely
Like
trained
the
him wrong.
telegraphs, you stand in those, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I don't see what the problem is. I'm following it correctly then.
Ryan is our Wimblow.
Yeah.
We purposely trained him wrong.
I just want to see how much damage you can do. How about that? You got to test the game.
Right.
Face the foot style. How'd you like it? But,
God, I love that movie.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm coming out that I'm kind of excited about. I can't think of anything offhand.
There's one topic that we could kind of touch on a little bit. We'll have to do a little more topic on it, but Microsoft is wanting to purchase.
Oh,
Mojang,
yeah.
And they're willing to spend $2 billion to purchase this indie company out of Sweden. And it's going to be the first.
5 years ago, when
Well,
they could have
right,
done it for $200,000.
Well, here's the interesting part about it. Mojang is, like, the head guy at Mojang has been on record of going against these types of big deals and being anti, like, big corporations buying these little guys. But it'll be interesting to see how he. Like, $2 billion is a lot of dollars.
Well,
It's a lot of dollars.
well,
It's
you know
many
what?
dollars.
Let me be frank.
Okay.
I think he's full of shit. Because he's making money hand over fist.
Oh, he made $1 million like the first 2 months or something
Yeah.
of that game's release?
He's making money hand over fist. And what is he using this money on? Because it's certainly not fucking development.
No.
You know, so I know a lot of people.
Bitches, dude.
I know a lot of people are, you know, not excited about Microsoft taking this IP over. But honestly, if Microsoft puts more time and effort into the game itself,
What is up with the background noise in New York
dude.
tonight?
he was just echoing my rage.
Right.
That's all.
Oh.
But if
Just
Microsoft
sound
puts
effects,
more development time into it, I'm for it, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean,
And hopefully they will migrate it off of fucking Java.
yeah. Well, they're talking about making it so that it can be multi-platform too. Like most of the tablets will be able to use it. Because right now you can get it on, I think, iPad and Xbox. I think about the only other non-computer-based things. You may be able to get it on a Windows tablet. I'm not 100%. But Microsoft was talking about giving it a little bit more. Well, I mean, if they're not talking about it, it's speculated that they're going to make it more accessible for everybody and probably see a lot more Xbox content.
Why would they do that? I'm sure see a lot more Xbox content, but why would they make it playable on PS4? Those guys.
I mean,
They won't.
Microsoft. The enemies.
They won't make it on PS4. There is one giant drawback, though, from taking it off of Java. And that will break every mod. Like, no mods will be usable. And everyone will have to completely redevelop their mods. That is something that will break the heart of the modding community.
Yeah. I
And probably
can see
break their spirits, too,
that. Yeah.
to be quite frank. So, I mean,
So without that community, who plays
Yeah.
Minecraft?
No, that's right.
no, you're absolutely right. So if they take it off of Java, like, as much as I would like it not on the Java platform, I think it might be a bad move. Hopefully they can just clean it up and make it more accessible, not only for people who want to play it, but for modders, you know, and for people who want to download and use mods. Because those are a giant pain in the butt sometimes, you know, just to get them to use. I mean, if you want to go do shaders, for instance,
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's
the stuff you
ridiculous.
have to get for it,
Yeah, like what you have to go through to not just get the shaders to work, but the system you have to make shaders work so your computer doesn't run at 2 frames a second.
Yeah.
So
It's not just a screenshot machine at that point.
I play this game one screenshot at a time.
Slideshow Minecraft.
But I mean,
It'll be interesting to kind of follow along with this, see kind of what they're going with. My guess is the deal will go through. Microsoft will own Mojang.
$2 billion is too good to pass up for just about anybody.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
There's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot of billions.
There's a lot of
I'd
cheddar.
sell for $200,000, do I? Well, I mean, it's not like he needs the money either, though, because he's got to be making bank over there. I mean,
Yeah.
admittedly, he has people to pay who do whatever it is they do when
Yeah,
they're
there's
not
a team
developing.
or
I don't
something.
know. So
Yeah,
Well,
they spent a lot of time not developing, so.
They make enough to have their own Minecon. I mean, they've got their own.
yeah, but they don't. Like, it's all fan generated.
True,
stuff
but
like that,
it
you know what I mean?
sells
They don't
out.
have to.
I mean,
Yeah. Oh, those are quick too.
Oh yeah, the fact of the matter is if they didn't have Minecon, one of the fans would create Minecon.
Right.
It would happen.
Yeah.
It
the
would
fan
just
base
be-
for the game is so ridiculous. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. I don't know.
Let's see them bring more My Little Ponies into Minecraft.
Well, it took them 5 years to have sheep drop food, so.
What?
You're not allowed to have an opinion on what's supposed to be in. You have to play the game first.
I almost played it once. Does that count?
No, it doesn't.
It counts good enough for me. I don't know. Apparently you have high standards. That's a problem.
You're right. I shouldn't require people to have experienced something to have an opinion on it that's worth anything.
Correct.
Well, in this day and age, we have the internet, so we'll just go with what the internet general consensus is and base our opinions off that.
Right. No, I generally go with the opposite opinion of what the internet says.
Oh, see,
That's what I do.
Always got to be the rebel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Fair
But, well...
Yeah, argue with that. What's up?
Bring it on.
See, I think that's it. I don't really have any...
a whole lot. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of hands-on with Destiny next week.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to just be all anti-Destiny next week. Oh, it's going to be so much fun.
Oh, he's such a hater.
I hope you have so much fun with this game that you literally have to take, like, hours of just fighting with yourself.
He's been playing it for the past couple of days. He just doesn't want to tell anybody. He's
I
already
played a couple of times. I played some PvP. It wasn't bad. But the PvP is extremely unbalanced. In my opinion. Extremely unbalanced.
Well, it's mostly unbalanced because it's a shooter with gear. So that's what causes it to be a lot more unbalanced than normal.
Well, your brother's got a higher level character.
And they're all...
Yeah.
So we'll mess with the high-level character PvP.
Yeah,
stuff.
but the high-level characters play with low-level characters PvP.
Oh, they
I'm 7 going up against somebody who's 21. What chance do I really have?
Yeah.
Answer is not much.
Well,
basically two shots.
Well, SWTOR kind of has.
Considering your skill in shooting games in the
but they
first place.
don't. SWTOR had that too, but they boosted everybody.
Yeah, which is
they don't boost you, at least not noticeably in this game.
Oh.
Maybe they do, and I can't tell. But like seriously, I will shoot the guy. I can see my bullets hitting him. I can see his shields go down. I'll hit him shoot him like 5 times, and he'll turn around and shoot me once, and I'll be dead.
I would like to make a disclaimer here that
Roby is shitty at shooters.
Roby
is shitty at shooters.
The disclaimer is that Roby is terrible at these games.
Correct.
And that there's a good chance he's just terrible, and that's the reason why it sucks.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm any better at shooters. Quite frankly, I'm not.
Right.
So there's a good chance I walk in PvP going, yeah, Roby's right.
Right.
So
Golden Gun is just amazingly imbalanced for starters.
We'll have to see if Marv wants to come on and talk about it a little bit. He's been playing pretty hardcore.
Yeah, maybe Marv would like to. I know Noah's going to join us next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, Noah's going to join us next week.
Yeah, Marv joins too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I've only played like a couple hours of it, but what I have played was a lot of fun. It has that very much that Bungie touch to it. And so it's a lot of fun, but whether or not it keeps getting the support that is necessary to keep it alive, because it's a game that requires that sort of support.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. But I think that's it for this week. If you guys have anything else you want us to talk about next week, other than Destiny,
do we check the Facebook, see if anybody
and let us know. You know what? I don't think we checked anything. Let me look before we.
Yeah, we've been terrible.
Shitty people this time.
I don't think we have.
Yeah.
You say that like. Let's see here.
Do we have people know us? Okay.
Uncomfortable silence.
Uncomfortable silence. We got. Oh wait.
Bro, it's comfortable. It's totes comfortable.
Trish shared a link. Oh wait, that's an old link.
Yeah, Trish commented on Ryan's Minecraft link.
Yeah. Well, poop.
Well, yeah, and we'll link. We'll put up links to the video, or we'll put video links or whatever links we can find in regards to what we did talk about today. So feel free to comment, add your own 2 cents on whatever it is.
It's on the YouTube, Dave.
Yeah, Sanchez, it's on the YouTube, sir.
He can't hear us though, obviously because he has trouble connecting. We're telling him that online, and he can't hear us still.
Well, he can't when we forcibly sit him down and watch him, make him.
I told Dave he should watch our podcast the other day. You know what he told me? The podcast is for people who don't have access to the source. I was calling you. I'm like, all right.
Fair enough, Dave.
Fair enough.
But all right, join us next week. We'll talk about Destiny and anything else you guys want to, us to talk about. Bring it up on Facebook or hit us up on Twitter. And that's it for this week.
Yeah, we have a Twitter, don't we?
Yeah,
we do have a Twitter at RSG Podcast.
God, we're so media savvy.
Dude, we are the best.
We need a Tumblr.
And an Instagram.
Take sweet pictures.
Sweet.
Instagram.
Let's sign off. Can
we do filters? I just want to do filters. That's all I want to do.
We'll see you guys next week.
Filters of filters.
Thanks for